Good evening, all the participants. Welcome to our day 4 of our knowledge series. Today's topic is on GST on real estate, and we have with us Mr. Venugopal Gela. So I'll just give a brief introduction about Mr. Venugopal. He is a partner at Venu and Vinay Chartered Accountancy, qualified in the year 2002 by securing All India rank of 45th. He is also a certified information system auditor. He has also completed various other certificates, courses from ICAI, namely DISA, course on business valuation, course on internal audit, course on fraud detection, and many more. He has been an active speaker at ICAI on GST, especially on technology at level. He has authored various industry-specific handbooks on GST. He has contributed a lot in the towards a technical guide on GST audit released by ICICI. He conducts various workshops on filing returns and with ease use of automation. He is a GST faculty for ICI and conduct various workshops and webinars. He advises on technology for GST implementation and integration of accounts and return filing utilities as well. Apart from this, his other areas of practice includes design and development of internal control and process documentation, consulting in ERP implementation and migration. Apart from audit, he is hands-on on coding with VB, .NET, R, Python. Is also reviews database design. He conducts various workshops on the use of technology, improve efficiency while working using Excel, building automated reports from accounting and financial application. With this brief introduction, I'll request Mr. Venugopalji to please take over here and start the session.
Thank you, sir, for your kind introduction. Friends, I know this is the knowledge series on the real estate, and I'm told that there are a lot of participants who are, some of them are students, some are from MBA graduates working in the real estate industry, some are builders who wants to get themselves updated, and couple of chartered accountants and lawyers and other finance professionals from the industry are here. I welcome you all for today's session. And let me just present my screen. Harishji, during that discussion, is there an opportunity for Q&A, or do we do it at the end? How does it happen? Harishji?
Hello, sir.
So the Q&A would be like during the session. I can, because I can see people.
Yeah, as you prefer, sir. It can be at the end, or if you prefer in between the session. So
Okay, ठीक है.
better we'll have at the end.
Depends. See, it is like a monodialogue. Like अगर मैं बोलूँगा तो I'm not seeing anyone and I'm just seeing the screen.
Correct.
But participants do they have an option to put a question on the chat?
They have the option of putting their queries in Q&A and even chat box.
And if they want, we can unmute them and they can ask the question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, done. Thank you. Okay. All right. So firstly, participants, I see some of the people are raising the hand, like Chetan Vaidya and Sanket Joshi. I do not know why you are raising the hand. You can lower. If you definitely want to talk, maybe you can put it on the chat so that we will know. Yeah. Let me just start the session. And as I said, since there are various participants over here, they are novice and they would want to understand the law. Some of the senior people would also be there. So for seniors, it is definitely a basics of GST. But yes, someone who do not know anything on GST, it is a great value add session for you being here. See, the real estate area is definitely under litigation. जैसे लैंड का लिटिगेशन चल रही है for various reasons. Even from the taxation law, there are litigations. A very simple reason for litigation is uh, two perspectives. Like what you are seeing on the screen is like you can see an angry man seeing at you. There's a man who is seeing another side. Two perspectives. People are thinking in two directions. you are saying that what I'm selling is real estate, so no GST. The officer feels no, what you are doing is works contract, you pay GST. You say, I want to avail input tax credit. The other side, no, no, input tax credit is blocked. Various things, there are different perspectives. Perspectives are different because the view at which we are seeing the transaction are different. If I take a simple joint development agreement, landlord says, see, what I am giving is a land. Land is outside the purview. I don't know what this development rate is. Or we look at a transaction where the developer doing construction apartments and giving it to the landlord. Developer says, see, landlord is not paying me any money. Who is the one who is paying money is end customer. जो एंड कस्टमर मेरे को दे रहे हैं उसके ऊपर मैं पूरा टैक्स दे रहा हूँ, जितना मेरे को कैश आ रहा है उसके ऊपर पूरा टैक्स दे रहा हूँ. Like, why are you saying in a different view? So the sources of litigation is purely because there are different views and different perspectives. Let's understand the basics of the taxation. Since there are some new people, so I thought I'll have some basics of taxation too. From the point of understanding where the GST law happens, you should understand what is a supply and at what point the supply is originating. If it is there, at what is the value and which state gets the revenue, what should be the rate of tax, input tax credit, return filing, and other procedures. These are the things one should be aware whenever we talk about GST procedures. And this is not just for real estate, it is applicable for everyone. Now, specifically from the real estate perspective, when we see supply, Section 7 of the GST Act talks about supply, and which says all forms of supply, goods, services, and which includes exchange, sale, barter, transfer, whether it is made or agreed to be made for a consideration by a person. अगर हम हमारा रियल एस्टेट में देखेंगे, and when I say real estate and works contract, it is completely a vast area. So you can think that when we say real estate, you can think of renting a commercial premises is also a real estate. I am constructing a road, bridge, canal, it's also real estate. I am doing an excavation earthworks, that's also real estate related. I am doing a subcontractor, is like I am the one who is doing a building, but I have given the subcontract of some portion to someone जो वो काम कर रहे हैं वो भी real estate है. So there are various aspects of the real estate. Most of our discussion for today's thing I would keep limited to development of apartments for further sale, because that is the biggest aspect of the real estate. So we keep that for the purpose of our discussion. Now, which means whatever the activity which is being done is a supply. The another thing, whether it is a supply of goods or supply of services, under GST, for someone to levy, there is something called supply. So if there is no supply, meaning if there is no levy, no GST. For the levy to happen, it has to be supply. If it is a supply, it has to be supply of goods or supply of services. There can no way possibility under GST one supply is both goods and services. Even though if it is both goods and services, it eventually has to be goods or services. It cannot be goods and services. The levy is cumulatively taken. Wherever there's a situation, there is a goods and services, government will divide it and take a separate levy for goods. It's a goods and services tax. Now, even under real estate, what is being sold? Again, as I said, whole of my discussion, please think of someone constructing an apartment and selling it. Let's look at constructing houses and selling it. What is it being supplied? So the item that is being supplied, is it goods or services? Let's look at that. I am the builder, you are all home buyers. So when I construct, give you a home, whether it is goods or services. Now, goods needs movability till it comes to a place of an immovable property. What am I supplying? Steel, cement, sand, jelly, doors, flooring, electrical. All those aspects are goods. Even though everything that I'm supplying is goods for the purpose of GST, The real estate works contract is treated as supply of service. So one has to know from the GST perspective, the law recognizes this transaction as supply of service. So this whole transaction is supply of service. Then the another aspect one also needs to know is one item is outside the purview of GST. What is it? Immovable property. What is an immovable property? Sale of land or sale of land and building after completion. So before completion, if you are selling, it is works contract. If you are selling after the construction, it is not works contract. It is purely after the construction, it is immovable property. Okay, there's someone mentioning that they're unable to hear clearly. I am not sure whether it is for the same or it is only for Arpanji. Arpanji, I would request you to check your mic. Maybe if many people are saying, then I have to see, but otherwise I am speaking normally. All right. So moving further, there is the type of levy. The levy that needs to be paid to the government should also be looked from whether forward charge or reverse charge. We understood that the taxes needs to be paid. After we understand that the taxes needs to be paid, okay, someone says the voice is clear, but it is low. I will try to keep mic closer to me. Maybe you can increase the volume of your the speaker thing. Let me increase my volume. All right. Okay. So the levy has to be understood whether it is a forward charge or reverse charge. Now, what is this forward charge or reverse charge? What is the concept of this? One needs to know who is the one who has to pay taxes to the government. Let's take a simple example to understand what the difference between a forward charge and reverse charge. I am a buyer. I am a buyer and I am buying some goods from the seller. So here is the seller and I am buying some goods from the seller. Let's understand how the forward charge works. In case of a forward charge, when the buyer is selling the goods to, when the seller is selling the goods to buyer has to pay an amount. Let's take 100 rupees plus a tax amount of 18 rupees that needs to be paid to the seller. The buyer makes the payment. Now, what does the buyer do? He pays whatever is the value which is there invoice, the entire amount he pays to the seller. This is the normal course. Now, seller keeps 100 rupees for himself and pays 18 rupees to the government. He is not making a full in money as his income. Only part amount as his income, part amount as his tax to the government. This we call it as a forward charge transaction. What is a reverse charge? In case of a reverse charge, when the sale is happening, the buyer, instead of making a payment of 118 to seller, he pays only 100 rupees to the seller. And seller keeps that 100 with him. He is not going to pay any tax to the government. Rather, the buyer himself pays the taxes to the government. In this case, the 18 rupees is paid by the buyer to the government. So the difference between a reverse charge and a forward charge, the taxes are always cost to the buyer, but who makes the payment of the tax to the government? If the buyer is making the payment to the government, it is the reverse charge. If the seller is making the payment to the buyer, then it is forward charge. The next thing, okay, I understand I have to pay the tax and it is a forward charge. The real estate has both forward charge and reverse charge. I will explain you in a while. But when should I pay the tax is also very important. Now, that is governed by time of supply. Section 13 of the GST Act talks about time of supply. It says you have to pay the tax earliest of the following. Whenever you are raising an invoice or whenever you are receiving the money or issuing the invoice, whichever is early. So if I get the money, I don't issue the invoice, I pay GST. I issue the invoice, but I don't get the money, still I have to pay GST. And when should I issue the invoice? whenever I am doing the service, within 30 days from the date of issuance completion of that service, I have to issue the invoice. Now under real estate, when does this completion happens? Real estate is a continuous supply of service. So in case of a continuous supply of service, the government said, as look at the milestone. So the agreement between the builder and customer is to construct. Now, instead of waiting till full completion being over, look at a milestone. As per the contract, it would say, okay, pay 10% on foundation, pay 5% after fifth floor. There would be various milestones. As and when that milestone is reached, you pay GST. There is a levy of GST at that each of that milestone. Okay. So the tax invoice as per section 31 has to raise the invoice as per provision within the prescribed period, and GST for real estate is a continuous supply of service. As and when you are providing the service, raise the invoice. And on what value one has to pay GST. Now, the section 15 of the act says the value includes the amount paid or payable. So from the builder perspective, you collect floor rise charges, you collect car park charges, you lake view, pool view, garden view, you collect any type of charges, all will be subject to GST. Now, however, you may ask this question, but I am also paying the amount for land. Land is an immovable property. Okay, the builder is giving me an apartment. He is giving me an apartment for construction area and UDS, undivided share of the land. So why should I pay tax for UDS? Government said, okay, fine. Since there is a transfer of land, in case of a construction services, it is which is involving transfer of the land. Since land is not subject to the levy, so the undivided share of the land, we will reduce it. How much we will reduce it? They said the undivided value of the land will be deemed as one third of the total amount of the value which is charged. So the construction is deemed as two-third. The construction is two-third where you have to pay the tax, and the land is treated as one-third where you don't need to pay the tax. So no tax for the land, and for the construction you have to pay the tax, which is two-third and one-third. And which state government has to get this tax? I am here in Karnataka. The builder is building it in Maharashtra. So when I am buying the apartment in Maharashtra, which government has to collect the tax? Okay, friends, what is your view? I just want you to put it in your chat, in the chat. The seller is in Maharashtra, buyer is in Karnataka. Which state government has to get the revenue? Should it be the revenue for government of Maharashtra, or should it be the revenue for government of Maharashtra? Can you put it in the chat? Everyone are saying Maharashtra. Let's take a case where I am selling mobile phone. I am selling mobile phone. I am in the state of Maharashtra. Buyer is in Karnataka. A buyer from Karnataka is placing an order for mobile phone. So the seller from Maharashtra is transferring the mobile phone to the buyer in Karnataka. Which state government will get this revenue? Which state government will get a revenue when a mobile phone is sold from Maharashtra to Karnataka? Even though if you have answered earlier, never mind, please type your answer again. So Bharat says Karnataka, Shetul says Maharashtra, Priyanka says Central, Pratik says IGST. Okay, I don't understand IGST. Let's keep it simple. Which state has to get the revenue? Saket says Karnataka, Jitin says Maharashtra, Bhaskar says Maharashtra. Mobile phone is from Maharashtra, so Maharashtra should get. Uh, Contract of sale completed in Maharashtra, then Maharashtra. Shantanu sir is further confusing me. Sir, simple question है. बायर कर्नाटका से है, उसने फ़ोन करके ऑर्डर किया मेरे को एक मोबाइल भेज दो, सेलर महाराष्ट्र में है, उसने मोबाइल कोरियर कर दिया और बायर ने सेलर के अकाउंट में पैसा जमा कर दिया बस. यस, इट इज सोल्ड इन महाराष्ट्र. आंसर इज यस. कौन सी गवर्नमेंट को रेवेन्यू चाहिए जाना है? अब महाराष्ट्र के वोट्स बढ़ रहे हैं, ये तो सेंसेक्स की तरह लग रहा है. तो शुरू में तो ये पूरा कर्नाटका हो गया था. मैं आई थिंक जो स्टेट का एंड ले लेता हूँ उसी स्टेट का आंसर जा रहा है. ओके, रोहन डिजोजा सेज कर्नाटका. ऑल राइट, नाउ लेट्स स्टॉप द पोल हियर. Let's understand what's the answer. The answer is place of supply. Whichever is the place of supply, that state gets the revenue. And under GST, we call it as destination based tax or consumption based tax. Whichever state consumes the goods and services, that state gets the revenue. In the case of mobile phone, where is the buyer in which state the buyer is who is consuming this mobile phone? Maharashtra or Karnataka? Please put your answer. In which state the consumer is? All right. So now you can see people are posting Karnataka. So in case of a mobile phone which is sold from Maharashtra to Karnataka, place of supply is Karnataka, revenue goes to the government of Karnataka. All right. So wherever the buyer is, that is the place of supply. Please make this point clear. Now, from real estate perspective, so this is what I have said, the place of supply. Wherever the tax is, if it is the place of supply is the same state, it is CGST, SGST, otherwise it's IGST. Now, from the IGST Act 12 subsection 3 says, in case of a real estate, in case of an immovable property related transaction, the place of supply is location of property. The place of supply is location of property. Now, the same question again. Buyer is from Karnataka. Builder is in Maharashtra. What is the place of supply? Right. Archit, you are right. Pratik, you are right. So the place of supply is Maharashtra. So only in case of a real estate, the place of supply is Maharashtra. So the revenue goes to the state of Maharashtra. Now that is where the governments are very particular about immovable property. They do not want it to move to another state. Next thing one should be knowing about input tax credit. Friends, here right, it is Maharashtra. Now you can lower, you can need not type it. Let's move to the next concept, input tax credit. The input tax credit under GST, we call it as seamless input tax credit. However, there are certain items which are blocked for availing input tax credit under 17 subsection 5. As per 17 subsection 5, the certain items are blocked for availing input tax credit. And one of the item is what I have highlighted is works contract services. These services are blocked for availing input tax credit. So one cannot avail an input tax credit if it is relating to works contract. Now the exception is, there is an exception. It's not that everyone can not take input tax credit. If I am a builder, I'm building and further selling, I can take input tax credit. But if there is an end buyer, the end buyer cannot take the input tax credit. Then certain exemptions have been provided. Exemptions means there is no levy of tax. There is no levy of tax. So what is an exemption which is provided in the real estate sector? The exemption which is provided in the real estate sector is on the development right. The landlord which is giving the development right, that is exempted. It might be little complicated, but however, I will come back in an example. Then there are very important notifications one needs to know. If you are a student of GST for real estate, everyone should be knowing the notifications which is there on the screen. Starting for 3 bar 2019 up until 8 bar 2019, these are the notifications one should be knowing or one should be aware of. Let's understand these notifications. First and foremost, 3 bar 2019, it said, I'll just skip these entries. There's a, yeah. So prior to April 2019, the real estate industry, the rate of tax was 12%. If it is PMAY scheme, Prime Minister Awas Yojana scheme, it was 88%. Other real estate, general real estate, it is 12%. But 12% was actually not rate of the tax. The rate of the tax was 18%. However, 1/3 there is a deduction to the land. The tax has to be paid only on 2/3. 18% into 2/3 is the 12% rate of the tax that was given. Now, this has been eliminated and a new rate of tax have come. The new rate of tax effective from 1st April, when I say 1st April, please read it as 1st April 2019, I will correct it. So the rate of tax they have said is for in case of an affordable housing, affordable and other than affordable, I'll not say non-affordable. Affordable housing ka definition hai, if the value of the apartment is below 45 lakhs and the carpet area, they have also given roughly you can 65 square meters and metros and non-metros. So you can understand that in case of an affordable housing on a simple as a thumb rule, you can think that rate of tax is 1% and all other thing is 5%. However, with the condition that there is no input tax credit. Earlier, I have said the builder gets an input tax credit, but this notification came in and said no input tax credit. This is for residential projects. But if it is a commercial project, for a commercial project, the government said, okay, I will give the input tax credit. The input tax credit is allowed, but the rate of tax, I'll make it as 12%. So they have increased the rate of tax to 12% instead of 5%. This is when the supply is happening with the land. When the supply is happening without land, how can there be a supply without land? हो सकता है ना, मैं बिल्डर हूँ, मैं कंस्ट्रक्ट करके आपको सेल कर रहा हूँ, बट मैं नेम से एक बिल्डर हूँ, जो भी काम करना है ना, मैं सबको सभी सब कॉन्ट्रैक्ट दूंगा. So when I give everything for subcontract, someone is constructing for me and which I am further selling. So he is not selling me with land. So in that case, they said 18% with input tax credit if it is not a PMAY houses or if it is not affordable housing. In case of affordable housing, government wants to keep the tax rate low. They said it is 12% with input tax credit. Any doubts for anyone at this point? You can put your questions in the chat. Let me see the questions if there are any. All right, there are no questions. Very good. We'll continue. Then in case of a new mixed projects, both commercial and residential. So in case of a mixed project, what is a mixed project? See, I'm constructing an apartment. You can know on these days, the apartment when it is constructed, you can see there is a commercial portion in the ground floor. There is a grocery shop. There is some. You can think anything for a commercial complex shops B which is on given on rent. The back side is residential, so that the association gets some recurring revenue. All that is set. Now, when there is a mix of it, what should be the rate of tax? जब builder construct कर रहा है, वो तो commercial portion के लिए अलग से steel cement तो खरीदेगा नहीं. Like he is constructing all together. And even for the RERA, he will be applying it as a mixed project. He wouldn't be applying it as a pure commercial or pure residential. So the government said, let us look at the mixed projects in a way it is commercial. मतलब commercial element ज़्यादा है. So in those cases, the government said, okay, you take the rate of tax as 1% for affordable, 5% for residential, 12% with ITC for commercial. Now, how do one take an ITC? At the end, I will again explain you back ITC, but please understand this is the rate of tax. But it is purely residential project, but छोटा सा commercial है. Now, what does the छोटा सा commercial का मतलब है? अगर the carpet area of this commercial is less than or equal to 15%, अगर ये 15% से कम है, तब इसको बोला जाएगा कि deemed residential. Even though it is not purely residential, it is deemed. The moment it is deemed as a residential, even the commercial portion is taxed at 5%. So the rate of tax in a deemed residential, why the word I'm using the deemed, because it is not a residential. So that is why we call it as the residential real estate project. So generally we call it as REP. In this case, we call it as RREP. So even though it is not fully residential, we are deeming it as a residential project. In this case, the commercial portion is also taxed at 5%. So one needs to be aware there is a difference in the tax rate. There is a question from Prashant. Can all subcontracts under affordable project comes under 12%? Answer is yes. Subcontracts under 12 affordable project is 12%. Similarly, is there any reduction in tax slab for material supply? No. Material, there is no reduction. It is only works contract that is reduced. That is what I have put it here in this slide. The 12% is a composite supply of works contract in case of an affordable. Now, what if suddenly the violation happens? So the land prices have boomed up. I am able to sell it for 50 lakhs, even though carpet area is well within the square meters defined, but I am selling it more than 45 lakhs. Then the builder, since he has paid to the government to the tax only at 12%, he will be now paying to the tax the differential 6% to the government. Subcontractor will continue to bill at 12%. Hope the Prashant this answer your question. Okay. Then the question comes, there is a change in the rate. Is this rate compulsory? Old rate was 8% or 12%, new rate is 5%. Is it compulsory? The answer is any new project, it is compulsory. What about ongoing projects? Ongoing projects, government said it is compulsory, but if you want to be in the old project, please file a declaration to the commissioner before 20th May. So if you have filed it, then it is old rate with input tax credit. If you have not, it is new rate without input tax credit. Then there are certain conditions which have been given to the builders who are there in the real estate. So every real estate builder in GST, they have to pay the tax, which is 5%, using cash only. They cannot use the ITC. Even though there is an accumulated ITC or I am doing multiple business, I'm not supposed to use ITC. I should only use cash and make the payment of taxes. Next, along with that, they have also said that you cannot avail ITC in the future purchases. They have also said the input tax credit, if you already have, you can use it for non-works contract project, but you should definitely not use for the ongoing projects. Then the very important thing the government said, there is something called reverse charge, which I said I'll explain. They said this reverse charge which needs to be paid, this reverse charge which needs to be paid by the builder, such reverse charge has to be on the development rate, it has to be paid by the builder, not the landowner. So there's a concept of development right. Such development rate has to be paid by the builder, and it has to be paid on the reverse charge basis after making the payment of tax. Now, since input tax credit is also not availed and you have to mandatorily pay the tax, so the builders will try to procure goods from unregistered vendors. So the government said you have to buy the goods only from registered vendors. If you are buying from unregistered vendors more than 20%, if you are buying from unregistered vendors, then you pay the tax under reverse charge 18%. Since you have procured from an unregistered person, that person will not pay the taxes to the government. You pay these taxes under reverse charge. And they said, please assess this and pay project wise by June. You cannot say that I will see this project में थोड़ा margin कम है, मैं unregistered से खरीद लूंगा, दूसरे project में registered खरीद लूंगा, adjust करूंगा. Answer is no. Do it every year on by June, and only for the purpose of cement. Cement का rate 28% है. So the cement said, they said there is no question of 80% for cement, irrespective of the threshold, they have to pay GST at the rate of 18%. So this is for the cement, the government said do it in this way. Hope you have the conditions which have been given for the real estate builders with regards to the input tax credit is clear. Anyone have any doubts in this point? How to pay a GST on a JV transaction? Very good. I'll come there. I'll come and explain that. Let's move to the question on the JV transaction. Okay, subcontractors we have explained. I think you guys have seen my slides. The next, this is on the JV, joint venture or joint development. Let's first understand the joint development. What happens in the joint development? The joint development मतलब क्या है? Landowner के पास land है, but उसके पास ability नहीं है construct करने का. Either he do not know how to construct or do not have money to do it or market all those things. So he says मेरे पास ये land पड़ा हुआ है, but मैं इसको construct नहीं कर सकता हूँ. आप इसको construct कर दो. Now he is not selling the land. What he is doing is he is giving a development right, a right to develop on the land. The moment he gives the development right under GST, it is called supply of service. Since the land is not sold to the builder, landowner is supplying a service that is called development right. Because it is a supply, GST has to be paid by the landowner. So the government said, instead of burdening the landowner, anyhow builder has to pay the tax for it. Let the builder pay the tax on it under reverse charge basis. And what do builder do? Builder इसको एक building बना देगा. Now, is the entire building for him? Answer is no. कुछ portion वो रख लेगा and कुछ portion he will give it to the landowner. So there is a portion something which the builder is keeping, some portion is given to the landowner. Now what do they do? They are definitely not for their own purpose. So they are for sale to the customer. कुछ अपार्टमेंट्स ओसी आने से पहले बिक जाएंगे, कुछ अपार्टमेंट्स रह जाएंगे ओसी आने के बाद, they would have get sold. Same happens with the landowner also. Landowner को जो भी अपार्टमेंट्स मिल रहे वो कुछ सेल भी कर सकता है, या अगर खुद के लिए रखना चाहता है तो वो कुछ खुद के लिए भी रख सकता है, या ओसी आने के बाद सेल भी कर सकता है. अब हम इसका जीएसटी कैसे लगेगा इसको समझेंगे. नाउ जीएसटी पहले समझने के लिए क्या क्या एलिमेंट्स है टैक्सेशन वो देख लेंगे. First and foremost thing, the landowner got some apartments now, which means the builder has done construction services to the landowner. He has provided construction services to the landowner, so the builder has to pay GST on it, forward charge, no input tax. I'm talking residential, no input tax credit, so 5%. Then builder is selling it to the end customers before OC. So again, builder has to pay tax on it 5% without any ITC. What about the units which have not been sold by the builder? After the OC, there is a concept of immovable property schedule 3, no GST. Input tax credit का reversal बात नहीं होगी because credit लिया ही नहीं है. The government said, okay, there was the building which has been built by the land developer to the landowner. There was development right. Landowner ने development right दिया. जो development right दिया उसके लिए tax भरो. Now instead of paying for the whole of the thing, pay the tax on the unsold units. तो जितने unit sale नहीं हुआ है उसके tax भर दो. That is the liability they brought in. From the landowner perspective, they said during the OC you are selling, so liability तो बनेगी, but I do not want a double tax. आप जो भी incremental पे बेच रहे हो उसके ऊपर tax दे दो, so which means it's a forward charge with input tax credit. And जो own use के लिए रख दिया landowner ने, उसके ऊपर tax कुछ नहीं है, but जो भी ITC है उसको ITC को reverse कर दो. Friends, this is on the area sharing, the tax structure. Anyone have any doubts in this? Question: is there any from Prashant? Is there any restriction from buying material services from compositions vendors? No, purchases can be done from any of the vendor. There is no restriction. Anyone? Any doubts? Is it clear? All right. So no questions. I'm happy. We will move to the next scheme of JV, which is revenue sharing. What we have seen was area sharing. अब रेवेन्यू शेयरिंग में क्या होता है, लैंड ओनर बोलता है लुक जो भी अपार्टमेंट तुम दे रहे हो ना वो भी मेरे को नहीं चाहिए, वो भी तुम रख लो, ये पूरा आप बेच दो. बेचने के बाद जो भी पैसा आता है ना उस वो पैसे में यू गिव मी सम शेयर. लाइक अनसोल्ड भी कुछ रहेगा, तो लेट अस अंडरस्टैंड फॉर दिस अनसोल्ड एक उसके लिए भी एक वैल्यू आप जोड़ दो, वो उसका भी मेरे को एक पैसा दे दो. दिस इज व्हाट हैपेंस इन ए रेवेन्यू शेयर. नाउ इसके ऊपर टैक्सेशन देखते हैं. सेम द यूनिट्स विच हैव बीन आइडियली टू बी गिवन टू द लैंड ओनर वो तो बिल्डर के पास ही है, सो देर इज नो कंस्ट्रक्शन सर्विसेज, हेंस नो टैक्स. एंड जो कस्टमर्स को सेल किया है उसको फॉरवर्ड चार्ज में पे कर देंगे बिल्डर को. एंड जो सेल नहीं हुआ है वो डेवलपमेंट राइट्स जो लैंड ओनर ने दिया, सेम लाइक एरिया शेयरिंग, द बिल्डर विल पे. एंड जो रेवेन्यू द लैंड ओनर को मिला है बाय वे ऑफ रेवेन्यू शेयर, इट इज ट्रांजैक्शन इन मनी, क्योंकि इसको टैक्स पे होने के बाद द मनी हैज बीन अप्रोप्रिएटेड, so no GST is to be paid because taxes have already been paid. Same happens even for unsold units का जो भी पैसा मिल रहा है, the taxes have been paid, so no GST that would be applicable. Okay. How much GST on after OC stock? There is no GST on after OC stock. It is development right. I will give you an example how to do it. I'll show you an Excel calculation. Let me. This means developer has to pay GST on rehabbed component and balance sale component on OC. Correct. Adil, you are right. Developer has to pay tax on entire construction. I will explain you in a broader way. So let's take a project with 60 units to builder, 40 units to the landowner, total 100 units constructed. So the builder retained 60 units. He sold 35 before OC. उसको 5% को फॉरवर्ड चार्ज में पे होगा. Then he has retained or he is unable to sell 25 units. Then that will be paid under the reverse charge development rate बोल के 5% पे करना पड़ेगा. Landowner को 40 यूनिट दिया है. Because he has given to landowner under the name of construction services, he pays 5%. नाम आप जो भी रख लो, जो बिल्डर ने 100 फ्लैट्स कंस्ट्रक्ट किया है उसके ऊपर 5% पूरा देना पड़ेगा. So under various heads, it now you are accounting for entire units for payment of taxation. Is this clear? I think this answers the question on what is the amount that needs to be paid for. Great. Next landowner का देख लेते. Landowner को 40 यूनिट मिल गया. 15 उसने सेल कर दिया बिफोर ओसी, 25 उसने रख लिया उसके खुद के पास. जो 15 उसने सेल किया उसको 5% फॉरवर्ड चार्ज में पे करेगा. जो 25 उसने रख लिया है, देयर इज नो लायबिलिटी, बस उसको आईटीसी भी नहीं मिलेगा. जो डेवलपमेंट राइट लैंड ओनर ने बिल्डर को दिया है, that is exempted, he will not be paying any tax. Builder will be paying under reverse charge. Now, is this liability on the development agreement? The answer is the liability to be paid on the OC date. The GST on the balance flats to be paid on the OC date. Jatin ji, this is what one has to understand. This development rights taxation. Okay, let me show you an Excel at this point. Let me pull up the Excel for you, which will explain you. One moment. Oh, sorry, I'm on mute. Okay. Let's look at this Excel. Builder has constructed, it is confusing if you try to look at here and there. I will give you the flow of it. Builder has constructed 100 units. मान लेते एक एक अपार्टमेंट 1000 SFT का है. Am I audible?
Yes sir, you are audible.
Okay, ठीक है. हाँ, तो मान लेते हैं कि एक एक यूनिट 1000 SFT है एंड लैंड ओनर को 40 मिला, बिल्डर ने 60 रख लिया. 60 में से बिल्डर ने 35 he has sold before OC, 25 he sold after OC. So we are accounting for 35, 25, 40. So we are accounting for 100 units. Let's see the taxation of this. Let us think the launch date price is rupees 3000, OC date price is rupees 4100. For the 40 units which have been sold to the landowner, what is the value of this 40 units? Is 40 units into 1000 SFT and 3000 rupees per SFT. So the value of this 40 units is 12 crores. ये 12 crore के ऊपर GST लागू होगा 5%. So which बन गया 60 lakh. So GST has to be paid. Then 35 units have been sold before OC. मान लेते हैं 35 units, there is a 3000 and 4100. This got sold average at 4000. So value of the units which have been sold, 35 units, is 14 crores. 35 into 1000 into 4000 rupees, 14 crores का सेल वैल्यू हो गया. इसके ऊपर द बिल्डर को 70 लाख जमा करना पड़ेगा. Here how did 70 came? 5% of this 14 lakhs. नेक्स्ट 25 यूनिट्स वो खुद रख लिया. ये 25 यूनिट्स का टैक्सेशन इज अंडर रिवर्स चार्ज. नाउ हाउ डज द रिवर्स चार्ज वर्क? द गवर्नमेंट सेड find out development right value. What is the development right value? The landowner got 40 units. The 40 units into the launch date price. The value of this is the development right. इसके ऊपर GST लगेगी 2 crore 16 lakhs because it is a service. It is at 18%. Now, out of 2 crore 16 lakhs, bifurcate into 3 categories. If you remember in the in this slide, I said the development right is only for this category of the thing. So development right is only for sold after OC. खाली इसी के लिए ऊपर liability लगेगा, ये दोनों के ऊपर, because he is paying. Now sold after OC, in I'm now splitting in the proportion in the ratio of 40 is to 35 is to 25. 40 is to 35 is to 25. So 54 lakhs one has to pay the tax. But however the government said अगर मान लेते कि ये 25 सेल कर देगा तो OC डेट में 4500 है. So 4500 अनसोल्ड अगर सेल कर देगा तो 10 करोड़ होगा. उसके 5% बनेगी 51 lakhs. So lower of 54 lakhs or 51 lakhs one has to pay the tax, which means now the total tax one has to pay under GST is the, let me go to the review. Look at the tax which the builder is paying. He is paying for the landowner value. He is paying for sold before OC. He is paying for sold after OC. This is what the taxation structure under a joint development agreement one has to pay. Hope this is clear. Question of redevelopment. I'm there in the next slide. I'll come. Okay. Let's move to the next aspects of real estate. Where were we? Yeah, so we understood the development right taxation. So from the landowner perspective, अगर development right residential है तो exempt है, commercial है तो builder को reverse charge में pay करना पड़ेगा. And builder from the question of residential, he will say pay only on unbooked, not on the booked flats because वो forward charge में pay हो चुका है. The next aspect is on plotted development. Plotted development भी बहुत ही litigated area है. Now, why is the litigated area? Plotted development में land तो बिक रहा है, but land is outside the levy. गवर्नमेंट का कहना है कि लैंड के साथ साथ डेवलपमेंट चार्जेस भी लग रही है, तो आप डेवलप कर रहे हो, तो पूछा जाएंगे कि क्या वैल्यू है. So let's understand the issue of the plotted development. What happens in case of a plotted development? Same, let us understand there is a JD. The JD, there is an uneven land. The landowner is giving his land saying that इसको डेवलप करके प्लॉट्स कर देंगे. तो उसके लिए भी मैं डेवलपमेंट रेट दूंगा डेवलपर को. अब डेवलपर क्या करेगा? पहले वो करेगा प्लान सैंक्शनिंग अथॉरिटी के पास जाके प्लॉट्स बनाने के लिए ही विल गेट एन अप्रूवल. ही विल डू द डेवलपमेंट एक्टिविटीज. पहले उसको डिजाइन कर देगा कि 60-40, 30-40, कितना रोड्स बार है, कितना पार्क आ रहा है, पूरा एक ड्राइंग बना देगा. ड्राइंग बनाने के बाद ये ड्राइंग को गवर्नमेंट के पास लेके अप्रूवल, प्लान सैंक्शनिंग अथॉरिटी के पास लेके अप्रूवल करके आएगा. ये अप्रूव होने के बाद ही हैज टू नाउ स्टार्ट डूइंग लेवलिंग ऑफ द लैंड. उसको ठीक ठीक स्ट्राइट करना है. करने के बाद all internal sewerage plant, water treatment plant, laying of the road, he has to put the drainage, he has to do whole lot of activities into the land so that वो थोड़ा अच्छी land की तरह दिख जाएगा, like which looks like a complete proper layout. Now this layout which is ready for sale, इसको दो तरीके में बांटा जाएगा. एक लैंड ओनर रख देगा, एक एरिया डेवलपर रख देगा, बोलेगा कि ठीक है इतना आप रख लो, एक एक हिस्सा आपका, एक हिस्सा मेरा. तो ये यूनिट्स बेचा जाएगा. द क्वेश्चन इज when these units are being sold, GST is applicable or not. But what is being sold, it is finally sold to the customer as plot only. From the customer perspective, he gets a plot. So he is now seeing a developed plot. Earlier was a undeveloped land, now it is a developed land. The question which government asks is on the taxation, is this supply taxable? गवर्नमेंट का कहना है कि पहले तो वो खराब लैंड था, वो लैंड अभी डेवलप हो गया. अब आपने डेवलप कर दिया तो वो डेवलपमेंट के लिए एटलीस्ट टैक्स दे दो. नाउ फ्रॉम द बिल्डर पर्सपेक्टिव, बिल्डर सेस मैं तो लैंड बोल के ले रहा हूँ. देन द गवर्नमेंट सेस अच्छा लैंड के लिए 1/3 डिडक्शन दे दो. बिल्डर बोलेगा वो मैं मानता हूँ, अब बिल्डिंग कंस्ट्रक्शन में लैंड डेवलपमेंट में तो पूरा लैंड के लिए वैल्यू ले रहा हूँ, वो आप परसेंटेज सही नहीं होगा. एंड इवेंचुअली मैं developed land या undeveloped land, what I am selling is land only. So where is the question of development? But government says the supply price is including development charges, and it is like the principles of composite supply. So when you have some taxable item and non-taxable item and you are completely merging and selling, then you take the principal supply. So the questions are now very debatable. Couple of advance rulings have come, said कि लैंड के ऊपर टैक्स लग जाएगा, पे कर दो. बट क्वेश्चन ये है कि अब क्या HSN है, व्हाट इज द टाइम सेलिंग, 1/3 डिडक्शन जो दे रहे हैं हम, वो जस्टिफाइबल है क्या, इसका इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट मिल सकता है क्या? दीज आर द क्वेश्चंस वन नीड्स टू नो. इन माय पर्सनल व्यू, अंडर रियल एस्टेट, the joint development agreements are outside the purview of the taxation. इसके ऊपर टैक्स नहीं लगेगा. मैं बोलता हूँ कि सेल ऑफ लैंड है, टैक्स नहीं लगेगा. गवर्नमेंट बोलता है नहीं नहीं लगेगा, इट इज डेवलपमेंट चार्जेस. So I want to hear from the views of the members, what do you think? Is the taxes applicable or not applicable? So question to all the members, plotted development, is GST applicable when the plots are being sold or not applicable? I'm only talking about plotted development. Deepak sir, will you share the presentation? Yes, let the presentation be, let first participants answer this question. Jiten says not applicable. Anuj says not applicable. Neelam says not applicable. Rohan says after OC does not attract GST, but I am selling the plots before OC only, then क्या होगा? Tax applicable to the extent of development charges. Bhaskar, how do you know what is it to the extent of development charges? I am selling 2000 rupees per SFT. तब क्या होगा बिना बाइफर्केशन का? चलो आपके लिए सही में बाइफर्केशन दे देता हूँ. 100 रुपये डेवलपमेंट चार्जेस, 1900 टूवर्ड्स लैंड, तब क्या होगा? Okay, so majority of the people also view that it is not applicable. Unfortunately, government view it is applicable. So the this issue is yet to be resolved. I think this matter will get resolved only in the Supreme Court. In my view, there is no levy. Even though I collect development charges 100 rupees, Bhaskar, there is no levy because the principal item which is being sold is land. Someone says there is no concept of OC in plotted development as per my knowledge. Yes, there is no concept of OC, but you will get a release order before you even, by the way, even plotted development is under RERA. You have to make an application, you have to complete, you have to get a release order. All that is applicable. It is not building alone. Even the land plotting is also under RERA. All right. Let's move to the next concept of input tax credit. Input tax credit under GST. Now, where there are two types of projects, old project and new project. Old, ongoing. Earlier, ongoing project input tax credit was allowed, but it has to be reversed on account of OC date. So that I will explain. Let's understand new project. New project is two categories, REP, RREP. What is an REP? It is a real estate project. There is a commercial project. There is no residential or only a small amount of residential. In case of an REP, the government says जो भी आप परचेज करते हो इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट आप पूरे के पूरा अवेल कर लो एंड जो रेसिडेंशियल पोर्शन है उसको रिवर्स कर दो. कैसे रिवर्स करना है? रूल 42 एंड 43. अब ये रूल 42 एंड 43 क्या बोलता है? मान लीजिए आई हैव कंस्ट्रक्टेड 100 यूनिट्स, उसमें से 50 यूनिट्स, आई पुट 50 एज एन एग्जांपल व्हिच इजीली यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड. 50 units are residential, 50 units are commercial. So the government says, okay, 50 units which are residential, don't take ITC. 50 units you are commercial, you take an ITC. How is it possible? Government says, you take entire ITC, उसके ऊपर 50% reverse कर दो. Now, of this 50 units which are commercial, which I am eligible for input tax credit, 25 I am selling before OC, 25 I am not selling. अच्छा, 25 आप नहीं बेच रहे हो, उसके ऊपर भी रिवर्स कर दो, बिकॉज जब नहीं बेच रहे हो उसके ऊपर टैक्स तो नहीं दे रहे हो, तो ITC रिवर्स कर दो. So resident, that is why I am referring to rule 42 and 43, where you reverse the input tax credit to the extent which you are ineligible. अगर मेरा पूरे के पूरा प्रोजेक्ट RREP रेसिडेंशियल रियल एस्टेट प्रोजेक्ट, मतलब वो कमर्शियल पोर्शन जो था that is deemed as residential, that time even the commercial portion is deemed as a residential, the input tax credit attributable towards the residential portion, you are not eligible to take input tax credit. उसको भी आप रिवर्स करना पड़ेगा. Next, in case of an ongoing project, मतलब credit was eligible, so the government gave a complicated math. If you are migrating, this is the question of migration. So if you are migration, this, if you are doing any migration, you will be using this. If you are not migrating, you are continuing in the old method, then you will be choosing this method. Partly can I be in old, some projects old method, some projects new method? Answer is yes, you can be partly in old and partly in new. Then you will for the residential portion which you are in the old method, you reverse some credit on March. For the commercial, you avail it and reverse as per rule 42. Now I will go and explain you this complicated method, and I am sure some of you it would be applicable and you should understand this conceptually. What is this? Let's take a project which is ongoing. Now I am moving from an era where the credit was eligible. From that era, I am moving to an era where the credit is ineligible. This change happened 1st April 2019. On 1st April 2019, when this change happened from eligible input tax credit to ineligible input tax this ITC which I have availed on 31st March 2019, am I eligible for input tax credit? Now let me explain you this question little more detailed. If I have started this project on May 2019, I am not eligible for input tax credit. 5% pay करना है. I have started this project on say January 2019. Then I am eligible for input tax credit. But why is this ill treatment or very different treatment for the people who started earlier and the people who are starting now? The notification came in the month of January stating that okay, from in the month 33rd council meeting made these changes, and council meeting said that we will stop input tax credit from April. So what did the builders do? They started procuring everything. Now जिसके पास कैश है उसने प्रोक्यूर कर दिया, तो उसके पास ITC आ गया. So he is beneficial compared to other who did not had money, he did not procure. So the government said all this is possible, people would do all the mischief. Now I will design a formula that will take care of everything. If you did not take an ITC also, I will give benefit. If you have taken extra ITC also, I will put a formula that you get a ITC that you are eligible for. Let's take a scenario. On 31st March 2019, I have 10 crores input tax credit available. I will bifurcate the project into two categories, commercial and I will bifurcate into two categories, commercial and residential. Commercial 25% मान लेते हैं, residential 75% मान लेते हैं. So I am eligible for commercial or रख लो. Residential 75%, 7.5 crores, you are not eligible, reverse it. But you will say, sir, I have to reverse fully. So government said, hold on, I will give you a formula. It is like F1 into F2 into F3 into F4. I can understand 100 into 30%, I can understand, but 100 into 30% divided by 25% into 42%, what does it mean? I don't understand. So they explained, you segregate it into कितना आपने काम किया, कितना काम नहीं किया. मान लेते हैं मैं तो 25% काम किया हूँ, तो गवर्नमेंट से अच्छा रिकैलकुलेट करो, 25% के लिए अगर 7.5 crores हुआ तो पूरा 100% करोगे तो कितना होगा? 30 crore होगा. ओके ठीक है. नाउ 30 crore में से अगर बिफोर 31st मार्च इफ यू हैव बुक्ड सम अपार्टमेंट्स, मतलब आपने कुछ गवर्नमेंट को पे किया है, वो कितना है? 60% आई हैव बुक्ड. अच्छा 60% फ्लैट्स को एलिजिबिलिटी मिलेगा, 40% को नहीं मिलेगा. अच्छा 60% से मल्टीपल कर दो, 18 crores हो गया. बट एंटायर 60% को नहीं दूंगा क्योंकि कस्टमर ने 10%, 20%, 30% दिया होगा, बाकी 100% ऑन द ओसी देगा. कितना कस्टमर को बिल किया आपने? मान लो 30%, तो आपको 30% ही दूंगा. सो वो बन गया 5.5 crore. So the government said the eligible credit which you are eligible for, the residential portion eligible is T into F1 into F2 into F3 into F4. अगर कोई नॉर्मली पढ़ेगा तो कॉम्प्लिकेट लग जाएगा, बट गवर्नमेंट इन ए लॉजिकल वे दे हैव गिवन इट इन दिस वे कि इतना आपको क्रेडिट एलिजिबल है. सो माय टोटल क्रेडिट विच इज एलिजिबल इज कमर्शियल का 2.5 crores, रेसिडेंशियल का 5.4 crores. सो टोटली आई एम एलिजिबल फॉर 7.9 crore. मैंने कितना लिया था? 10 crore लिया था. 10 crore में से गवर्नमेंट ने बोला 7.9 you are eligible for. You are eligible for 7.9. So you have to reverse 2.1 crore. You are not eligible for this 2.1 crore. Please reverse this input tax credit. So is this clear, friends? Anyone has any doubt? I know those who are seeing this for the first time, it is like heavy. This notification runs into 50 pages. It took for me itself for 3 days to understand this whole maze. So which I tried to put it into one single slide and explaining you in 3 minutes. So let me know if you have any doubts. Okay, there are no questions here. Let me see in the chat window. All right. There are no questions even at the chat. Now, so let's do a quick recap. By the way, I have come to an end of my presentation, since it was like there are a lot of people who are more from the basics of GST. I didn't want to touch upon any case laws. I didn't want to confuse you guys with advanced rulings and notification. I just want to keep it very simple so that you guys understand this. So anyone have any questions so far?
Please raise your hand if you want to ask direct question to Venugopal sir. So,
Yes, Jitenji.
Sir, can you tell us this development agreement, GST and development agreement in a very short manner?
Okay. Now you're asking me a complicated question. This slide you understood? When the development rights are given to the landowner,
Yeah,
builder. Now ये slide में आप बताइए कि doubts क्या है आपको?
Sir, in Mumbai, we have societies who are owner of the plot also and building. Okay.
Right.
And if they are giving development rights to a developer, then in that case, they are getting their area back.
Correct.
Okay. So in that case, how the GST will applicable?
Same what you are seeing on the screen. Development includes redevelopment. So existing society tha, the ability to the FAR is like current society में मान लीजिए there are 40 फ्लैट है, बट अभी का FAR के हिसाब से 100 फ्लैट आएगा वहां पे.
Yes.
तो बिल्डर क्या करेगा, उसको पूरा तोड़ देगा एंड वहाँ जो रेसिडेंट्स है 2 साल 3 साल के लिए कहीं और वो रह जाएंगे, उनका रेंटल खर्चा भी बिल्डर दे देगा. एंड द एग्जिस्टिंग फ्लैट ओनर्स को क्या मिल रहा है, वही फ्लैट बट न्यू फ्लैट. सो द लाइफ ऑफ फ्लैट इज गोइंग अप, एवरीथिंग इज गोइंग अप एंड ही इज मे बी एरिया ज्यादा मिलेगा उनको. पहले 600 स्क्वायर फीट का घर में थे, अब 800 स्क्वायर फीट का घर में आ जाएंगे.
Yes.
राइट. So the answer is same. मान लीजिए one landowner or now it is 40 landowners. 40 landowners are coming and giving the land. There is no change in the taxation. Taxation is the same. बिल्डर को अभी 100 फ्लैट बना रहा है, वो 100 के ऊपर उसको टैक्स जमा करना पड़ेगा. बिकॉज 100 का खर्च हो रहा है उसको.
ओके सर. सो मतलब सोसाइटी का जो फ्लैट है 40 फ्लैट्स है, उसका GST एट द टाइम ऑफ ओसी भरना है.
एट द टाइम ऑफ ओसी भरना है.
एंड वो सर उसको जरा क्लेरिफाई कीजिए ना कि एट द टाइम ऑफ ओसी कैसे भरना है, क्या कैसे कैलकुलेट करना है.
हाँ, how do we calculate at the time of OC? Let me take you back to that Excel. So सोसाइटी से क्या मिला उसको, डेवलपमेंट रेट्स मिला. हाउ डू आई कैलकुलेट द डेवलपमेंट रेट? जितने भी फ्लैट्स सोसाइटी होल्डर्स को मिला है उतना इक्वलेंट टू डेवलपमेंट रेट वैल्यू बन गया.
यस सर.
वो एक लायबिलिटी पे करना पड़ेगा. दूसरी, सोसाइटी मेंबर्स को जो फ्लैट दिया है वो एक बढ़ गया। तो ये रेट हमें कैलकुलेट करना पड़ेगा। पहले ये देख लीजिए कि लैंड ओनर को कितना कारपेट एरिया मिला, कितना कारपेट एरिया मिला। मान लीजिए सोसाइटी में 40 लोग थे, 40 को एक एक को 1000 रुपए का कारपेट एरिया मिल गया, 40,000 कारपेट एरिया मिल गया। वहां का रेट पकड़ लीजिए 3000। अभी 3000 तो बहुत कम है, बट एटलीस्ट 3000 मान लेते हैं।
Yes, sir.
तो 40,000 इंटू 3000 बन गए 12 करोड़। वो 12 करोड़ के ऊपर 5% लागू लगाएंगे तो हो गया 60 लाख। तो बिल्डर को ऑन ओसी डेट ही हैज टू पे 60 lakhs as the tax on it.
Okay, sir. So it is applicable on launch date price.
On the launch date price, but tax to be paid on OC date. मतलब जब वो बिल्डिंग खत्म कर देता है तब पे करना पड़ेगा बिल्डर को।
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir.
Akshita ji, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
हेलो।
हाँ जी मैडम।
हाँ सर, अगर रीडेवलपमेंट प्रोजेक्ट है उसका जो ओल्ड एरिया है उसके पर जीएसटी एप्लीकेबल है क्या?
हाँ है ना।
ओके, जस्ट एक्सप्लेन इट सर।
नो, सो उसका ऊपर जो ओल्ड एरिया है,
हाँ,
ना बिल्डर क्या कर रहा है, फिर से कंस्ट्रक्ट कर रहा है वो।
या
आई विल गिव अ वेरी सिंपल एग्जांपल। जो रीडेवलपमेंट में आई एम गिविंग माय ओल्ड फ्लैट, उसको तोड़ फोड़ करके नया फ्लैट बन रहा है वहां पे।
यस,
बिकॉज in a redevelopment he is not going to build one floor above your society apartment. He is going to construct again fresh.
या
Right? Let's take the example. I want to buy you want to buy an iPhone. You have an old phone. You are giving me an old phone. मान लीजिए उसका 5000 का है, iPhone 50,000 का है. When I am giving you the iPhone 50,000, you are going to pay me a cash of how much? 45,000 only.
45,000। हाँ,
But GST I have to pay on 50,000 or 45,000. आप बताइए।
50,000।
So even though I did not get cash of 5,000 rupees, I only got 45,000 rupees. I still have to pay GST on entire value of the new phone, which is 50,000. In case of a redevelopment, after the plot is redeveloped, there is no cash coming from the existing society holders. Some cash is coming from the new customers. So new customers is paying me cash for the development charges. उनको भी वो सोसाइटी में लैंड का हक मिल रहा है।
ओके,
जो लैंड का हक उनको मिल रहा है, जो बिल्डर उनको सेल कर रहा है, वो हक बिल्डर के पास नहीं था। वो हक ये एग्जिस्टिंग सोसाइटी वाले से लेके उनको ट्रांसफर कर रहा है, which means there is a hidden consideration, so GST is applicable on that.
ओके, थैंक यू सर।
Yes. So you can lower your hand.
Anybody else, Mr. Okay. Rahul ji, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Venugopalan.
Good evening, sir.
In case the joint development agreement has been entered before April 2019,
Right?
so is there a confusion like what will be the rate of GST and when it would be paid by the developer?
When did the development complete?
Development is still undergoing.
No confusion. Date of payment of tax is OC date. There is no doubt.
Okay.
Before April, it was forward charge. After April, it became reverse charge.
Okay.
Since it is still under construction, so on the OC date, whatever is the position, you will be using that the tax liability. Again, I'll consider the same example of mobile phone. Rate of tax for mobile phone was 12%. मैं मोबाइल फोन डीलर हूं, मैंने जब खरीदा वो 12% था, मेरे स्टॉक में पड़ा है। बट गवर्नमेंट ने बिफोर कोरोना इसका रेट बढ़ा दिया 18%। आज की डेट में आप मेरे पास आके खरीद रहे हो, तो मैं आपको 12% में बेचूंगा या 18% में बेचूंगा? पूछ रहा हूं आपसे।
18%, जो आज का डेट है।
जो आज का डेट है, एग्जैक्टली। डेवलपमेंट राइट, डेवलपमेंट एंटर्ड बिफोर ओसी, सॉरी बिफोर अप्रैल, बट कंस्ट्रक्शन कंप्लीट हो रहा है आज। सो आज की डेट में क्या टैक्स पोजीशन है, उसको अडॉप्ट करना पड़ेगा।
Thanks a lot. This really solves a lot of query.
Right.
Adil ji, please unmute yourself.
Sir, thank you very much for the informative session.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I think I missed this part of the. I think you answered my question, but I missed it due to some network issues. In a redevelopment project, there are say 100 units. 50 units are going to the existing members. 50 units are coming to the developer as sale component. Now, what I understood from your lecture is the 50 units which are going to the members, GST is payable on those units at the time of OC, right?
Correct.
The out of the 50 sale component units, 25 are sold before OC, so obviously we are collecting it from the client and paying GST.
Correct.
The 25 units balance at the time of OC, we need to pay GST through RCM method, right?
Correct.
That means 100% component, 100% of the project is taxable.
जो भी आप नाम बोलोगे, गवर्नमेंट को पैसा चाहिए, so they find a ways to put a tax structure and पैसे ले लेते हैं।
अब सिर्फ इसमें डिफरेंस यही है सर कि ओसी से पहले अगर माल बेचते हैं तो क्लाइंट से रिकवर कर सकते हैं और ओसी के बाद माल बेचते हैं तो क्लाइंट से रिकवर नहीं कर सकते हैं।
हाँ, बट अब ये भी देख लीजिए, पोस्ट कंस्ट्रक्शन आपका रेट क्या होता है? जनरली रेडी टू ऑक्यूपाई फ्लैट्स आर प्राइस्ड हायर देन द ड्यूरिंग कंस्ट्रक्शन फ्लैट्स,
राइट?
सो व्हाई हाई? ये कंपोनेंट है, टैक्स स्ट्रक्चर है, ऑल दोस थिंग्स।
तो सर ये रिहैब जो मेंबर्स के कंपोनेंट पे जो जीएसटी आएगा वो किस रेट पे आएगा? व्हाट वुड बी द रेट ऑफ? आई अंडरस्टूड द परसेंटेज, बट व्हाट? नहीं, 5% ठीक है, बट व्हाट एग्रीमेंट वैल्यू?
हाँ, जब आप जेडी एंटर कर रहे हो, वो डेट में क्या वैल्यू है वो अपार्टमेंट्स का, वो वैल्यू पे आएगा, लाइक डीम्ड नोशनल वैल्यू। उसका मार्केट वैल्यू पकड़ के वो रेट पे करना पड़ेगा।
Market value at the time of OC or at the time of joint development agreement?
JD date. Agar if you remember in Excel, I picked the JD date for the yes.
Okay, and what about sir landlord properties? I'm the owner of the property and I have tenants in my property. सब जैसा जो पगड़ी सिस्टम है और मैं रिहैब बना के दे रहा हूँ मेरे टेनेंट्स को, तो उसके ऊपर भी मुझे जीएसटी एप्लीकेबल है?
नहीं, इसी आप पगड़ी बना के दे रहे हो तो यू आर अंडर लाइक ए लीज। सो जो टेनेंट्स है वो आपको एडवांस दे रहे हैं, लाइक लीज डिपॉजिट दे रहे हैं, बट वो ओनर नहीं है। जब आप बोलेंगे आप भैया तुम जाओ, मेरा खुद रहना है, तो वो पगड़ी आप वापस कर दोगे एंड यू विल स्टे।
नो सर, नो, that's not my question. I am the landlord and I have my tenants. अब जब मैं रीडेवलपमेंट में जाऊंगा तो मैं उनको परमानेंट ऑल्टरनेट अकोमोडेशन ऑन ओनरशिप बेसिस दे रहा हूँ, तो इन दैट केस व्हाट वुड बी माय टैक्स लायबिलिटी? बिकॉज यहाँ पे वही सिस्टम है ना, जो पगड़ी वाले टेनेंट्स हैं उनको न्यू बिल्डिंग में अकोमोडेशन जब देते हैं तो उनको ओनरशिप पे देते हैं।
हाँ, टैक्स इज एप्लीकेबल, सो इट इज सेम लाइक the redevelopment and the land given in a redevelopment. Instead of one landlord, you will have 40 landlords.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Kshitij ji, please unmute yourself. Kshitij. Priya ji, please unmute yourself and ask your question if you have any. Priya ji, please ask your question.
Prashant, you can go ahead.
So I have one question, like a 10 building project, if we are taking a part OC of 5 buildings, so then should we continue to take the input tax credit for the those buildings in other buildings?
So whether firstly is it commercial or residential?
Residential.
रेसिडेंशियल में ओसी का कॉन्सेप्ट आईटीसी का कॉन्सेप्ट ही नहीं है.
नहीं, this is the old project before.
ओल्ड प्रोजेक्ट. ठीक है.
Old project.
ठीक है. सो यू विल कंटिन्यू टू टेक द इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट ऑन द डेट ऑफ ओसी. अगर आपने वो यूनिट सेल नहीं किया तो आप प्रोपोर्शनेटली रिवर्स कर देंगे. ऑन द डेट ऑफ ओसी जितने भी आपने यूनिट्स को सेल किया उसका आईटीसी आपको मिलेगा. तो मान लीजिए आप ओल्ड प्रोजेक्ट में हो विथ आईटीसी, so you are continuing the taking input tax credit even for the other 5 units. मान लीजिए रो हाउसेस से एक एक कंस्ट्रक्ट करके आ रहे हैं और 5 बचा हुआ है. ये 5 जो सेल किया आपने, इसका लायबिलिटी उसका आईटी से यूज किया, गवर्नमेंट मना नहीं करेगा. बट जब वो बिल्डिंग सेल टाइम पे ओसी टाइम पे सेल नहीं हुआ तो जितने भी आईटीसी उसका यहाँ आपने यूज किया उसको आपको रिवर्स करना पड़ेगा.
Okay, sir. Understood.
Sir, we'll take a last question.
Yes.
I think Kshitij want to speak again.
Yes, Kshitij. And Jitin.
Kshitij, please raise your hand.
I think Kshitij, we have answered his question.
No, sir.
No problem.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Kshitij. Yes, yes.
Yeah, basically my question is that in case, because now that is a new trend where the societies in Mumbai have started going in for self-redevelopment, which was, and where the builder maybe comes in as a contractor and he doesn't really act as a builder because society does not want to get into the complications of getting stuck, which has been a trend. So in this, what will be the implications of GST, because now the society is not transferring any rights to anyone for that matter.
Correct.
Yeah.
So in this case, now builder needs to be paid. Builder would be paid by the society in two ways. Either society will sell the extra units that is coming and give to the builder,
right?
Or the society will say whatever is the equivalent value that you have to get, I will give you. You take the flats. The ownership of development of that is in the hands of the society. So जो रेरा को application देंगे, it purely goes by the society.
Yeah, society.
Now, so and the society may tell to the builder, अब see मेरे पास ये ताकत नहीं है कि I can negotiate अच्छा रेट पे सीमेंट स्टील, वो भी तुम ही खरीद लो. So जो normal builder जो करना है वो भी तुम ही खरीद लो. So now the builder is entering the shape of the works contractor.
Right.
So builder is not a real builder. पूरा काम कर रहा है, but he is getting his compensation.
Right.
So builder has to value. So for him, let us take again the same example. 40 यूनिट का सोसाइटी है, वो 100 यूनिट बन गए अभी. बिल्डर को 60 यूनिट्स मिल रहा है.
Right.
In this case, whatever is the market value of this 60 units.
Okay.
In this case, whatever is the market value of the 60 units is the development cost of the it is the money value of those to the builder.
Okay.
So you can think the society is selling those 60 units, collecting the money and giving the builder, or giving the 60 units to the builder.
Right.
So builder's value of supply is that 60 units. On that, builder has to pay tax at the rate of 18%. But
Okay.
builder can take input tax credit.
Okay. Input
Point
tax
number
credit is the benefit. Okay.
But look at from the other side. Society क्या कर रहा है? Society the existing units जो है, the existing units which are there for the society, that existing units are now becoming from the 40 units is becoming 60 units.
Right.
So society has constructed additional 60 units.
Yes.
Society is selling this extra 60 units.
Yes.
Society has to pay 5% tax on this 60 units.
Okay. And when will be this tax payable?
So when is the tax payable? Since it is a continuous supply of service, so society has entered into an agreement. Technically, on the date of the joint development agreement, the value at which they have entered for, they will be getting it. If the I have to further look into the case of the contract. What does the terms of the contract say? We say on the proportionate, you say you construct so much, I will give you so much money, or whatever be the terms.
Okay.
That looked at either JD date or as in the progress or on the OC date. But eventually by the OC date, society has to pay 5%, builder has to pay 18%.
So in short, it is advisable that whenever such an agreement is drawn up, it is first consulted with a GST person specializing in
Absolutely,
GST,
absolutely.
and then go ahead than
Yes,
landing
yes.
into trouble.
Absolutely.
And one more question. So now that the society members are going to get extra area in the whole process.
Right.
So you were talking of units. So 40 units earlier were admeasuring, let's say 3,000 square feet, but now they would be admeasuring, let's say 5,000 square feet.
Correct.
And the remaining 60 units would be an X square feet. So this
Right.
enhanced area which they're taking for themselves, would that also attract any kind of GST implication?
Yeah, again, on a theoretical value, no, but the terms of the contract we need to see.
Right.
Society is again like a mutual benefit.
Right.
So is there any adjustment which is happening between the other society members?
Mhm.
That is something which we have to see. Let me give you again a small example. Let us say in an office, okay, in an office, everyone has a workstation and they are sitting in a table, 4 people around a table.
Right.
But now they say, okay, let us pool the money, let us buy a bigger table. Like they have pooled the money for themselves and bought a bigger table. They pay GST for when they buy the bigger table, but each one of them got an extra area. So this extra area which they got it, that is taken care in the GST which they have paid to the vendor who has supplied them this bigger table. That is that builder who is now giving them this extra construction, builder is paying the GST on it. So it becomes an inherent to the transaction. So there wouldn't be any additional levy to the society.
Okay.
It's a thumb rule, but again, the contracts wordings is the equality to all those things we have to see.
Yeah, naturally. And so in the first case, as you said, that if the society says, I am getting a pure contractor, I am going to sell it, I am going to purchase everything for that matter, then in that case, they will be treated like a builder, 5%.
Yes, and they pay 5%.
And okay, and no ITC in that.
No ITC.
All right, fine. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes.
Thank you. Obliged.
Sir, we'll take a final from, I think, that lady also left. So, sir, that's it for the day, sir. It was very informative. In fact, it was a great learning for myself. I had a very doubts. Most of my doubts got clear.
Great. Sure. So, in fact, someone was asking me whether this presentation would be shared. Yes, definitely. I will share the presentation. And if any of you have any doubts or any clarifications you have, you are free to write an email to me. You can make note of my email ID. Of course, the presentation would be shared for the larger benefit of everyone. But I really enjoyed speaking to all of you. And again, Harshit ji, thank you for actually hosting this session to educate GST in the midst of all the RERA and other complications. People think GST is simple, but contract to contract, it changes. So I would only advise that whatever you have learned today is considered that as a guiding principle, but each transaction is different. It is not the simple straight GD. You definitely need to consult a GST consultant before you undertake any transaction. Otherwise, you end up in another litigation. Thank you, everybody, for joining the session.
Thank you so much. Thank you, our knowledge partner, Mr. Viraksha, as well, for helping us for arranging this knowledge session.
Yes.
Thank you so much, sir. So all the participants, looking forward to seeing you tomorrow as well for our next session.